Alright, Alright, I'm just waiting for Twitch to go online, and yeah, we're getting started with the new visual novel. There you go. Maybe a little. I think that's the light. It's blinding me. But there you go. Just. Alright, I'm just waiting for Twitch to go online on my. Oh, okay. Hey people, welcome back to my stream, and we are starting Iwaihime. I started way later than I originally expected. I wanted to go online like around 2-ish, but I had to catch up with Shingeki no Kyojin, and I looked for like a replacement for NVIDIA RTX voice canceling thing, because it's draining a lot of my GPU resource, and at the same time I am doing some video conversions from a concert I went to yesterday. So right now I'm currently using Chris to do noise canceling, and I feel like it's doing a better job compared to like the video one, so we're gonna go with that. Anyway, let's get started. I am excited because this is well, this is not like a R07 expansion production, but Ryukishi 07 is the writer, so at the very least we kind of have an idea how it's gonna go. I don't know if I could still fit in Katawa Shoujo later. We might. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about skipping like the Genshin stream, so whatever. And I do know I could be like streaming Mahoyo, but yeah, we'll get to that eventually. Anyway, let's get started. I'm excited. Settings. Back speed. Yeah. Alright, let's. Obviously, that does nothing, but I got curious to check it out anyway. Alright, let's begin. Wait, let me fix like my mic. It's obtrusive for me. There you go. Yeah, sorry, I'm still fixing my mic. Okay, here we go.
かっこつけすぎたかな。私ってばかっこ悪い。
Wait.
進む背はどのくらいあるのかな。写メじゃよくわかんないよね。
I'm gonna narrate the voice lines, I guess. Wait, is my volume fixed? Let me. Yeah, I think. Suzume was a distant relative like me. He was 16 and a junior in high school. Starting this spring, he would be living here in Susuda, going to the same school as me too. He said he'd know my place was, but normally you pick people up at the station, right? Still though, there was no excuse for my premature arrival. So I'm guessing this is like the cousin. Yeah, she's one of the MMCs, I guess. He seemed like the punctual type, so I figured he'd be more likely to get here 5 minutes ahead of time. There was no way he'd show up an hour early. Yet I had to go and get the brilliant idea to show up over an hour ahead of schedule anyway. I wasn't trying to get carried away, but honestly, it just kind of happened. Killing time at a click coffee shop would be ideal for this sort of situation. Well, I didn't want to waste over 300 yen of my meager allowance over a single cup of coffee. I just wasted some, probably equivalent of 800 yen a while ago. Anyway. So there I was, leaning against a pillar in front of a ticket gate, looking like a fool as I stared off into space. At first, I was worried about my hair looking funny, like I was waiting for my first date or something. Oh man, I'm going to Arima right now, so this is not what I need right now. I just had a weird thought right now. But those silly feelings pass after a while. Eventually, I found myself simply staring blankly at the bustling crowds of people. My mind as blank and as tactically as TV tunes a dead channel. No matter how much I checked my phone, it wouldn't change the fact that I still had another 50 or so minutes to go. Why do people wait for it'll be it's like I didn't go to I didn't play Tsukihime and see had Arc Raid wait 3 hours for me before ahead of time. Anyway, it'd be nice if I could find a game or something to pass the time. But since I was still recharging MP in Iwaihime, I couldn't play it for another 12 hours.
駅ってさ、何気に超メジャーでポピュラーな自殺スポットだと思うんだよね。
Nice. We start out with suicides. We start out with this edgelord stuff, man. Suicides. Shit. All of a sudden, my channel locked onto a single voice, speaking amidst the crowds. The voice appeared to be of a young office worker, all by herself, perhaps talking on the phone.
どんな自殺の名所もさ、結構行くの大変じゃん。覚悟とか度胸とか、というか行くのに時間かかるっていうか。だって思わない？富士の樹海とかで死ぬ人ってどんだけ頑張ってるわけ？樹海までの行き方調べて、電車乗って乗り換えて歩いて。普通死ぬためだけにそこまでやるかね。家で首つった方がどんだけ楽かって思うでしょ？
This is a very edgelord topic. She was discussing a rather morbid topic with the same energy one would have for the latest fashions that really bothered me. That said, I had to admit it was fascinating.
首つるのだってそうそう簡単じゃないって。首をつるロープかその代わりのものなんてそうそう家にはないよ。
Now that you mentioned it, I couldn't think of anything at my place that could support my... Oh, right, I like that suggestion. Going to the store to get a rope or something just to hang yourself seemed like a real fast way to kill the mood. Yeah, even just hanging yourself took effort. No, I don't want to think about this right now.
自殺ってさ、初恋の男の子に今だって告白するような勢いとタイミングでするもんでしょ？
That was quite simile. It was in no way a funny topic, yet I almost giggled. The days of seppuku were long in the past, so most suicides these days were done on an impulse. With that, I saw what she was getting at about train stations being suicide hotspots. It's a quick and easy way. I will never know how a person who committed suicide would feel, you know, in their last moments, and you know, they're letting everyone in the world know that they committed suicide. I'm thinking about, like, was seppuku was like an honor thing, you know, preserve my honor and all that, but isn't it like jumping on a train the exact opposite? You're inconveniencing the entire society. I'm trying to think of like the Japanese mindset, like, you know, all the crowd mindset. You're being a disturbance. That's the opposite of like honor and all that. I don't know why she brought up seppuku. Whatever. It's a weird thing that we're talking right now.
駅ってさ、学生でも社会人でも誰もが日常に利用している場所なわけだよね。
Oh, here we go. This is exactly what I was bothering about.
それでホームで電車を待っている時間ってどんなに忙しい人でも 自
Oh,
分を
no.
顧みるいい時間になるわけじゃん。
And so in those few moments waiting for the train, it could cross your mind how easy it would just be to just end it all. Train platforms were truly a wonder in that sense. If the thought of killing yourself passed through your head, you wouldn't even need to prepare anything special. All it would take is a few steps toward the edge of the platform. Sure, you'd have to wait for a train first, but those arrive every few minutes during the busy hours. A desire to die, a few minutes of spacing out, that was all you needed. And it was all just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
ね、最高の自殺スポットだと思わない？
Is trains really the best suicide spot? I'm thinking about it. Yeah, drowning is a hassle because it's a slow dying process. Jumping yourself in front of a car, there's a chance you'd survive, and you actually. I think I've seen like. Okay, we're going to morbid topics right now, but I think I've seen someone who that was an accident. That wasn't like a suicide attempt. Like half of their body, just goes off, but they're still conscious. They're gonna die no matter what. But they probably have like 30 to 1 hour. They're looking at their intestines spilling out, all of that. Yeah. That true, like, isekai by the truck is probably one of the worst ways. Although it's kind of similar to a train, but no matter what, if the train doesn't kill you, it's the wheels of the train will.
コンビニやカラオケくらいに身近でお手軽なカジュアルな自殺スポットだと思うわけ。
Yeah, but it's a major
疲れたら
inconvenience.
コンビニで栄養剤買ったりカラオケでストレス発散したりとかするでしょ。駅もそれと同じじゃないかなって。
So in other words, when you're tired of life, it should be okay to treat the idea of killing yourself almost casually. That's what she was saying. Suicide was supposed to be really tragic and serious, right? Yet this woman was talking about how death shouldn't be considered that big of a deal. It's a natural part of life. Like cutting your hair short for a change of pace, or splurging on a fantastic overseas vacation. In other words, resetting your life should be treated just as lightly as all of that. Resetting your life? But that implies you believe in some form of reincarnation after death. I didn't know it was because I was asleep or what, but her words felt like they were awakening something awfully new and fascinating inside me. She's gonna become suicidal, is she?
そうだよね。自殺って何もとことん追い詰められるまで考えちゃいけないものではないのかも。
Imagine suicide for fun. What the fuck is that? Like how you might just change up your hair after a breakup, or how you might treat yourself to a makeover or a new purse on a whim. Maybe it really should be treated as casually as that. This is some dangerous ideas, bros.
自殺って言葉が私は物騒だと思うんだよね。
確かに。
エステで新陳代謝を改善して新しいお肌に生まれ変わらせるのと全く同じ感じ。だから自分殺しなんて物騒な言葉じゃなくて人生のリピュアとかってどうかな。ね、なんか素敵な響きになったと思わない？
人生のリピュア。
Yeah, that did have a real nice ring to it. It was only then that I realized the woman had been talking to me. She was leaning against the other side of the pillar. I turned around and locked my eyes with her. She was an older woman in her 20s or so, with stunning long hair and somewhat compassionate aura around her.
してみると結構驚いちゃうよ。ああ、こんなに簡単だったんだって。なんで今まで無駄に怖がってたんだろう。バカみたい。
したことあるんですか、リピュア。
She's talking to a ghost if you ask that question.
うん。
She answered as if I had simply asked for the time. Wait, hold on a second. I felt as though my entire world has been turned upside down. This is some ghost shit, bro. I grew as dizzy as if heaven and earth had been inverted, and the sounds of the crowd around me grew deafening as though someone had turned up the volume on them. Oh, here we go. All of a sudden, I found myself in the very front of a crowded platform, beyond where the waiting line would usually start. I wasn't even a full step away from going over the edge, but there was a sea of people behind me. It was as packed as a can of sardines. Trying to force them back did no good, and if I tried to push my way through them, they pushed back just as hard.
見てみて。下を。
I heard the woman close by, but I couldn't see her. Oh shit! There's some ghost shit. There's some spirit shit, man. I didn't plan on listening to her, but a push from behind instinctively drew my eyes to my feet. I was stunned by what I found. Where there should have been gravel and train tracks was instead a vast blue sky, spreading out as far as the eye could see. Beautiful fields of cloud adorned that light blue sea. It was like I was looking down from a floating island. No, wait. Those clouds seemed familiar. They were just like those towering cumulus clouds I had seen one summer when I was a kid, lying on a field in a nature park. That's right. There wasn't a sky below me. The sky I had looked up at on that day was under my eyes. And just as soon as I realized that, I felt as though gravity had been turned on its head. My chest grew light with a desire to be sucked into that blue ocean, like that feeling you get when you finally reach the top of a tall slide after waiting in a long line.
おいでよ。
Alright, so Sudoku Bros.
でも
すっごい簡単であっさりだよ。怖くなんかないから。なんでそっちにこだわってたのかバカみたいになるよ。
The woman appeared before me. Holding out her hand to me, I had no idea how she got there without me noticing. Almost like she walked up to me as I lay gazing at the sky on that field, inviting me to go with her. It wasn't just her. There were other women there. Her friends, her co-workers, maybe, along with men in suits. Though it felt like they were inviting me to a barbecue or something. They looked so out of place in the suits that it felt kind of silly to me.
でもこれって
Hell yeah, women. So cute. Jumping off the platform, right? But then, there was an announcement signaling the arrival of the next train. And yet everyone was coaxing me over to them, their faces plastered with blissful smiles. Almost like they were telling me I'd miss the train if I didn't hurry. But couldn't they hear that screeching of metal against the tracks? The train was coming. I couldn't jump. If I did, I'd...
ほら、早く。怖くないから。痛くもないんだよ。
Hurry. You're going to miss it. Everyone said that as they reached out and waved to me, like telling me I'd miss out on all the fun if I didn't come along. But they were asking the impossible, because hadn't they all been crushed to pieces? Their hands, their feet, heads were all crushed into pieces, weren't they? There was no blue sky, just a blanket of scattered stone dyed reddish brown by the elements and rust. Faded metal rails like prison bars reaching out into the distance. It was from there the dead moaned, pushing through the track bounce as they desperately reached out to me. Their own buried hell beneath the stone, its residents doomed to be crushed under the weight of each passing train, unnoticed by the living day after day. The mutilated dead moaned there in agony as they desperately sought new companions. One of them had become nothing more than a partially crushed head. Another's outstretched hand had fallen right off their arm. An indescribable jumble of hands and feet squeezed through the stones as they beckoned me over. Chills ran through me, from head to toe. I wanted to back away, but the sea of people behind me were pushing back just as hard, pushing against me. No, even harder. Stop! I'm gonna fall! However, they were clearly winning. My toes had already stretched out past the platform and were trembling in midair. I stretched out my arms as far as they could go, grabbed onto someone behind me and held on for dear life. But the encroaching wall of flesh kept pushing. By this point, my heels were already halfway over the platform. The eyes of mechanical carnivore gleamed as it grew closer. The train rushed forward, crushing the moaning dead underfoot as it did. The screams of the damned joined in chorus with the metallic screeching as the train approached with its fierce velocity. It'll swallow me if I don't get out of the way. But just then, I found myself dancing in midair. Oh shit! At that moment, the stone graveyard of the suffering dead suddenly transformed into that magnificent sky once again. I couldn't tell if I was falling or floating. Congratulations! Congratulations! Everyone stood on the field of grass under the sky, their arms raised as if in celebration and waited for me. I fell gently into their crutches. Almost like I was light as a feather. Their countless hands caught me comfortably.
ね、怖くなかったでしょ?
Ah, shit. Shit, son.
ようこそ私たち側の世界に。あなたと一緒に来れて嬉しいよ。だって誰にも私の声が届かないんだもの。
Oh, she can hear to dad. There is no pain or suffering here, nor sorrow nor anger, nor irritation nor frustration either. They're all things of the past here. Of course, the same goes for hope, salvation, resurrection, and rebirth. I can't do crazy laughing any further. The transient illusion was all a lie. The sky, clouds, field, and people who welcomed me all vanished. I was lying on the rails, bound tight by the countless hands. That's right. I was a sacrifice to the steel behemoth. Ah! Shit! Now that's some edgelord shit. My body was knocked down to nothing by the jaws of the train in the blink of an eye. All my bones groaned with a sound akin to the crushing of a candy bar. I heard that with a ear remaining on my severed head. Naturally, not even my head could escape those steel jaws, of course. Who would have thought the sound could be music to one's ears? Crunch. Smash. What a pleasant sound, like sinking in scissors into the skin of a crisp candied apple. Scissors, right. It was a bit of a surprise to discover how gratifying it was to have my body devoured. Deep down, I understood it was an evil, detestable temptation, but being so thoroughly gnawed at such was a sensation both satisfying and amusing beyond comprehension. You know how it feels good when you're stretching and you feel your joints crack. Oh, okay, I wasn't doing that. Well, try picturing that, but all over your body, like goosebumps, and it keeps happening over and over again. Then you might understand. Crunch, smash. I knew, of course, I shouldn't get into that kind of pleasure, but by that point, my body had been reduced into little more than an assortment of paste and limbs strewn across the rails. Crunch, smash. Ha ha ha. What little there was left of me was being dragged into the track bed. A world of crushed limbs and innards, but it seemed that wasn't enough to kill them. Agonized moans filled the air. I understood. That was liberation. I didn't have to remember my day-to-day life any longer. I didn't have to keep spacing out and waiting without end. Waiting. Hold on. Why did I come to the station again? Oh well. Who cares? Who cared? This should be who cares or something. It didn't matter anymore. Oh. Another train was coming. Screech. Crunch, smash. The wheels of the train crushed hundreds more limbs than torso and organs. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. A blinding light gradually intruded on my ecstasy, and all traces of thought came to an end.
大丈夫
Daijoubu. She had a rich imagination or something. But damn, that was a nice intro. It was so morbid and edgy. Ah, Ryuki, she's R07. God damn it. The edgelord thing. Yeah, sorry, I was distracted for a few seconds. Fuck my. Never mind. Tsubakiko panted as she returned to reality. She was leaning against the pillar in front of the station, waiting for Suzumu. That was still the same. But one thing was different. Time had advanced to the point of Suzumu's arrival.
うなされてるみたいな感じだったよ。
そうだったうん寝ぼけてたかも
Tsubakiko gave a slight nod as she suggested that perhaps she'd been spacing out for so long. She'd had a waking dream.
大丈夫少し休む
大丈夫本当ちょっとぼんやりしてただけ
何か悪い夢でも見てた
Dreams can sometimes be so clear that they feel real when you're in them. Yet in most cases, you barely remember what they were about the moment you wake up. Tsubakiko couldn't put it into words. All she remembered was that it was a bizarre, grotesque daydream. She couldn't recall anything more than that. But as she stared at Suzumu's face, her mind started clearing up. She could feel herself returning to reality, the daydream being driven away in a flash. She had already completely forgotten the fantastical delusion that had taken hold of her. People don't tend to retain every detail of daydreams or fantasies they may have when spacing out after all. Fantasies like that happen all the time.
ごめんね。ちょっと早く来すぎて、ぼんやりしてるうちに居眠りしちゃってたかも。
どのくらい早く来てたの？
A freaking hour for some reason.
1時間くらいかな。
Uh-huh.
それはすごいな。僕のためにそんなに早くから待っててくれたの？
別にスズムのためにってわけじゃないわけ。
Alright, here we go, the Cinderella. Here we go. Fuck this.
たまたまちょっと早く来すぎちゃったってだけの話。男子は細かいこと気にしなくていいの。
Mm-hmm.
キコちゃんは面白いな。
Alright, we'll just go call her Kiko-chan because I don't want to say her full name.
田舎者のスズムが駅で迷子になってたら気の毒だなって。それで早く来て待ってたわけ。Do you understand?
Do you understand? Sorry, I remembered some radio shit.
迷子になったら来るのは早まるんじゃなくて遅くなると思うけどな。
Wait, that means Suzumi knows not enough English that he can understand that phrase just now.
荷物はそれで全部？カバン1個持ってあげるね。
あ、大丈夫だよ。重いよ。
ノープロブレム。うわ
Tsubakiko snatched Suzumi's travel bag out of his grasp, only dropping her feet with a thud. Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
何これ、めちゃくちゃ重いじゃん。
だから重いよって言ったのに。
スズムが軽そうに持ってたからてっきり軽いんだとばっかり。
He's a strong guy. For you.
ひょっとしてリュックの方が軽かったりする？そっちへ持ってあげる。
I don't think so.
大丈夫だよ。それにこのカバンより重いよ。
スズムって結構力持ちなんだね。さすがは男子。ああ、そっか。武道をやってるんだったっけ？
まあ腕だけは鍛えてるからね。
I'm pretty sure if you do martial arts, your whole body's gonna get fit as fuck.
昔と変わらず一見細そうなのに随分成長しちゃったね。
キコちゃんこそ実際に会ったらこんなにも可愛らしく成長してたんで。
そうありがとう。お世辞でも嬉しいかな。
かな？
お世辞なんかじゃないよ。キコちゃんはすごく可愛らしくなったと思う。
ありがとう。まあ私も女子やってるしキュートになるよう毎日努力してるしね。
There wasn't a single hint of flattery in Suzumi's compliments, making Tsubakiko even more embarrassed. Her heart was all aflutter at the thought that Suzumi would turn out to be one heck of a lady killer. His full name was Suzumu Susuhara. Just like Tsubakiko, he was 16 years old and in 11th grade. He would be going to the same school as her starting in April. But as her family tradition, he would start living on his own from this year onwards. His large backpack and traveling bag contained his personal belongings and the like. That said, he was still a minor, so it wasn't like he would truly be living on his own just yet. The Harumiyas, and the Tsubakikos, and her parents, and Tsubakiko and her parents. Oh, so Tsubakiko, Harumiya Tsubakiko, okay, would be taking care of him. Suzumu and Tsubakiko were relatives. However, they were 6 times removed, so they could hardly be considered close in terms of blood ties. Well, so much for my Oremo, problems since I'm rewatching it right now. What's more, the two hadn't seen each other since their great-grandfather's funeral over a decade ago. Their parents had told them each how the other was doing, but this was the first time in so long they were truly meeting face to face. Despite that, they didn't feel like strangers at all. Family ties truly are a serious thing. 6 times removed though. Even today had been their first meeting. Tsubakiko wouldn't have been opposed to welcoming him into the family at all. It was strange, but that was just how close she felt to him.
じゃあ行こっか。
なんだろう。
The station employees were in a fluster. The teenagers exiting their station were rambling on about something. Their faces pale.
飛び込みらしいよ。それもたった今だって。
Oh, I get it. I kind of get it. So someone actually did commit suicide, but somehow, you know, she might be like those spiritually in tune people, maybe. You know, the brain thing connects to the suicidal person. The suicidal person talking to the suicidal spirits. I'm making this shit up.
何それ怖い。
髪の長い若い OL が電車に飛び込んだって言ってるね。
Oh no. So the lady there, she was talking to a while ago. An office lady in her 20s with the long hair.
怖い。
気の毒だね。死んで咲く花なんてないのに。
Oh, I like that little flash. Wait, what the hell she say? She was reading her love.
リ何？
なんだっけ。
For a moment, images of the field under blue sky and a woman with an unsettling smile flashed through Tsubakiko's mind. But they faded into the fog of oblivion just as soon as they appeared. After all, it was pointless to remember daydreams.
ここがキコちゃんの住むアパートなんだ。
My father considered living alone to be a trial of sorts for me. Oh, am I now the guy MC now? Am I now? I might be. For generations, men of the Susuhara family had lived independently after reaching a certain age. Only once had trained his body and mind without relying on others was he considered a full-fledged adult. I'd eagerly awaited this opportunity for as long as I could remember. That was why I studied up all sorts of things in preparation for this day, so I could live on my own. The thought of finally being able to put all of that to the test excited me beyond words.
はい、これスズムの部屋の鍵。2階の202号室ね。
Or the landlord.
ありがとう。僕だけの家か。なんだかワクワクするな。
Ooh, independence. Kiko's family, the Harumiyas. Oh, Kiko being Tsubakiko. Her full name was Tsubakiko Harumiya. Anyway, Kiko's family, the Harumiyas, were landlords. I do it. Landlords. Were landlords who owned several apartment complexes in Susuda. This quaint 2-story apartment complex, residence Harumiyan number 2, was one of them. And I would be living here. I opened the door to find a baton and stacks of cardboard boxes containing daily necessities waiting for me. The delivery men had already made their rounds.
それにしてもずいぶんいろいろと送ったね。男子なんてせいぜい身の回りのものをカバンに詰め込んだらおしまいかと思ってたな。
No, that's a pain in the ass if you do that.
自炊しなさいって言って母さんがフライパンとかお鍋とかも送ってくれたからね。
Oh no, nabe.
スズム、自炊なんてできるの？
Kiko? Did you just fucked up in life?
多少はできるつもりでいるよ。得意って胸を張れるほどじゃないけどね。 キコちゃんはお料理とかってでき
Here
る
we
の？
go. This is the great question I was wondering about.
こう見えても将来の夢はプリティな花嫁さんだしね。
Mm-hmm.
花嫁修行の一環としてお料理も欠かさずお勉強してるの。へへへ、デリシャスな手料理でスズムを脳殺しちゃうよ。
I'm so happy to hear a lot of Japanese right now.
へえ、それはすごいや。今度ぜひご馳走してほしいな。
任せて。私も男子の舌に合うかどうか試したいと思ってたから。
My shoulder. Hiko nodded along, her eyes gleaming and her smile beaming. It seemed she'd been looking forward to living near a boy her age. Oh, what with being in the midst of adolescence and all.
ちなみに隣の201は私の部屋ね。
Girl next door, here we go.
壁薄いからね。聞き耳立てて乙女の秘密を聞こうとしたら血祭りにしちゃうからね。
That sounds so weird. I don't know how to take that.
しないよ、そんなこと。
I mentioned it might be easier to unpack with a box cutter and scissors. Tsukiko left the room, saying she'd go get them. With the bright and cheery Kiko dawned, a somewhat chilly stillness filled the room. The place had been renovated, so there had been faint traces of the previous owner's existence still lingering about. Replacing that with my presence and making the place my own would be among the great pleasures of living alone. But until then, I just had to put up with a little discomfort. Just then, long black hair gently tickled my cheek. No, it was just some falling dust. I looked up to the ceiling and discovered it was pitch black, like someone had painted it with soot. It felt greatly like black snow. When I came to my senses, I found myself in a pitch black cloud, filled with that falling snow. I couldn't see a thing. However, I could sense many presence. At that moment, I thought I could hear a female voice reading out something like a sutra at length. Her voice sounded beautiful, but I couldn't see her anywhere. Instead, a giant turquoise object shaped like a spindle, heavy and covered in rust, came into view. It felt like the voice was coming from within it. Many people were sitting around the object. The lights of the many candles flicker about, giving the affair a ritualistic atmosphere. Candlelight danced in a cloud of black soot, illuminating the massive coronal mass. I could hear the women reading, no, praying, singing inside it. I couldn't help but wonder what in the world that thing was. My eyes were gradually drawn into it. The woman's chant broke into coughs from time to time. My heart wrenched at that sound. I felt like I was going to choke in the cloud of soot as well. Before I knew it, that bizarre object loomed over me like a massive mountain and swallowed, smashed my consciousness whole. That was a weird way to like switch it to like history should be like, yeah, okay, no. Rules guide. Auto is A, skip mode is Z, skip C is J. I know this game doesn't have like branching paths or whatever, so this is like going through like a little sound novel, kinetic model. You know, it's a one route kind of thing in the first place, so I wouldn't worry too much about like figuring out what to do. I'll be right back, really quick. Rest and break. Alright, let's get going. Tsushida Prefectural High School. Class 2A. My class. Oh, wait. So pressing space removes the UI. I thought it was like advanced or whatever. Originally, the plan had been for me to transfer here a year ago, back when I was starting high school. But my mother fell ill before the entrance exam, so I had to stay and help around at home. As a result, I was delayed. She eventually returned from the hospital with a clean bill of health, and so I finally started attending the school 1 year later. At first, I was worried a transfer student like me would attract all sorts of attention and have a hard time. But since there were many students at the school and I had transferred at the start of the school year, no one noticed. This was to be expected. Classmen had 8 different classes, so there was no way the students would know everyone in their grade. They were all probably figured I had been in a different class last year. Just some classmate they haven't bumped into until now. So no one had any reason to think I was a transfer student unless I told them. That made things much easier for me. What's more, every day at the school wasn't just easy, it was actually pleasant. As for why? Well, first of all, Hiko was in the same class.
社会眠いよね。眠すぎて授業が終わってもスリスリスリーピーだよ。
Sleepy. She really likes to use Japanese.
ノートちゃんと取ってた？テストに出るって言ってたよ。
え、そんなこと言ってた？
よかったら僕のノートを写す？
うんうん。すずむ、サンキューサンキューだよ。よいしょ。すずむのノート。
何？字汚かった？
女子力高い。
No, sorry, I had to remember someone who had really good notes. It was a guy. It was the cleanest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was wearing normal notes. It was like practicing like calligraphy in a journal, but it was technical notes.
なんでこんなにふわふわに書いてあ
I
るわ
mean,
け？
no, that's a wonderful
丸
thing.
すぎ、かわいすぎ。
Yeah, it was so wonderful, but you know, it's unusual for a guy, I guess. I guess some people do have like talent for such things.
そうかな。子供みたいな字で恥ずかしいよ。
There's either two ways to interpret this. Suzumu is actually good at taking notes, you know, like the guy I was mentioning earlier. Or, you know, Hiko just really sucks.
あとイラストいっぱい、吹き出しいっぱい。ここはテストに出るよ。ここがポイントだにゃ。
Oh, okay. So that's a good way to deal with boredom
何これ。
while being productive.
高すぎる。女子力が高すぎる。
Hiko, your dream to be a wonderful wife is being destroyed. Compared to mine, Hiko's handwriting was rather dull and simplistic. Her boredom with school was palpable from her notes alone.
すずむ、あんたのノートいくら出したら私のノートってことにしてくれる？
ダメだよ。勉強は自分で書いて覚えなきゃ。
勉強はどうでもいいから、あんたの女子力少し私に分けなさいよ。これ鈴原くんのノートなの？かわいい、わかりやすい。
For some reason, girls had always liked me. Not like I had a clue why. Oh man, we have a lady killer guy here. Thanks, MC. This is some MC bullshit powers. But I had guy friends too.
さすがはススハラ、相変わらずグレイトな男だぜ。
Great Otoko.
光と影あらば男と女あり。グレートな男になるためには女子力も必要ってわけだな。
それは誤解だよ。
いいや、謙遜するな。俺はめめしいなんて思ってないぜ。お前のグレートな全てを吸収してやる。見ろ、俺のノート。
うわ
Natsu proudly displayed his notebook, filled to the brim with drawings. Though it looked like he had more drawings than actual notes.
汚い落書きでいっぱい。
Don't cry.
グレート可愛いだろ。俺も自分の中に女子力が眠っていたのかと驚いているぜ。
うん、かわいいな。これライオン？
惜しいな。それは猫ちゃんだ。にゃ
私には四足獣であることさえわかんないんだけど。
Is that
イラ
bad?
ストがいっぱいで楽しいノートになってるね。夏くんはすごいな。
ーん。俺なんかまだまだだぜ。必ずスサラの域にグレートゾーンに達してやるぜ。
Great zone. This was Datsuya. Atsuta, my best friend. He was a very unique and funny guy. I don't know why, but he'd taken a liking to me ever since we met at the opening ceremony.
ハルミヤも俺に女子力で負けてるようじゃまだまだだな。
あんたにだけは言われたくない。
あのさ、よく二人が僕に女子力女子力って言うけど、女子力って何？
説明の必要はねえ。スサハラのグレートな一面の一つに過ぎないぜ。
Great too.
大体ね、スズムは生まれてくる性別を間違えてると思う。私が女子力を身につけるために日々どれだけ花嫁修行してると思ってんの？
そうだな、日々修行だぜ。俺ももっと可愛いイラストでノートを埋められるよう修行するぜ。
あつたくんはちょっと黙ってて。でもススハラくんってすごいよね。武道やってるんだって。すっごい強いらしいよ。
当たり前だろ。あれでなよなよしてたらただのオカマ野郎だぜ。ススハラのグレートなところは男としての強さを持ちながら女のような繊細さを併せ持つところさ。
確かにすっごい腕力だよね。ずっと鍛えてるそうだし。
それだけじゃねえ。あいつの拳を見てみろ。あれはかなりグレートな修羅場をくぐった拳だぜ。
これはちょっとささくれちゃってて、クリームとか塗ってるんだけどね。
My father ran a martial arts dojo. As a result, he had trained me ever since I was little. Said training involved punching trees. Oh my god. Anyway, said training involved punching trees, wrapping straw, and the like. So my hands were pretty roughed up. Though I guess that might have made me stronger than the average person too. On the first day of school, I accidentally made eye contact with Natsu and challenged me to an arm wrestling clash on the spot, which I won. Afterwards, he said that was the first time he'd lost, that I'd caught his eye and so on. He had been fond of me ever since.
俺もススハラの親父さんの道場に通って鍛え直されたいぜ。そしてグレート夏也に生まれ変わって悪を拳で打ち砕きて。
うちのは武道とは言っても戦う武道じゃないし。
そうだよな。武道は戦うためのものじゃねえ、守るためのものだもんな。それでこそススハラ、やっぱりグレートな男だぜ。
ありがとう。
見てなさいよスズム。次の授業はめっちゃキュートなノートを取って私の女子力を証明してやるんだから。あら、かわいいイラストがいっぱいのノートね。誰のノートなの？
Yo, it's Sensei.
うわ、雛形先生だ。次補体だぜ。
雛形先生、これ見てください。このススハラくん のノート、男子の文才でこんな可愛いノートが取れるなんて。
そんなに可愛く書いてるつもりはないんだけどな。
すすはらくんはお勉強を楽しんでるから、それがこういう形で現れるのね。勉強も人生も何も塗ってない食パンと同じなの。そのまま食べても味気ないのは当然。そうでしょ。
確かにあのクソつまらねえ社会の授業は。
その授業にこの可愛いイラストで彩りを添えたと。
そうしたらもっと社会の授業好きになれるかなって思って。
味気ない日常に潤いを与えるのもまた素敵な女子力だと思うわよ。私も身につけたいわね。
But he out-feminine every woman in this story so far.
私も頑張って身につけます。
さすがはスサーラだぜ。やっぱりグレートだぜ。
そんなにみんなに褒められることをしたつもりはないんだけどな。
そういう気持ちで書いたから素敵なのよ。もしこれが可愛さアピールで狙って書いてたら、すすはらくんはとんだ腹黒作詞ね。
作詞？やっぱりこれも計算なのか。やっぱりススハラはグレートだぜ。
よくわかんないけど褒めてくれて嬉しいな。
あんまり褒めてる部類には入んないと思う。
チャイムよ。みんな着席して。次は先生の楽しい保健体育の時間よ。
雛形先生の授業は楽しいから好きだな。
先生は男子に人気あるからね。みんなあの大きい胸が気になるんでしょう。
What are you talking about? That looks normal.
当たり前だぜ。あの中には男の夢とロマンが8切れんばかりに詰まってるんだぜ。
残念でした。正解は脂肪と乳腺です。
さすがキコちゃん、勉強してるな。
Suzumu couldn't be happier with his school life. It integrated perfectly into the class, and each day was just as satisfying as the last. It wasn't just Suzumu either. Everyone in the class was happy. They were basking in the glory of their adolescent days. Ah, youth, man. Suzumu's classmates all took their seats as they reluctantly ended their conversations. Everyone bowed as commanded by the class representative, and the once lively classroom fell silently once again. The silence was abruptly broken by the sound of the rear door opening, attracting the attention of the entire class. Here we go! We're back to scary stuff. I was getting a little sleepy from that slice of life stuff. 2A was a class where anyone could enjoy themselves. Everyone there felt that way. But there was one person they all avoided. She has large eye bags. That someone was her.
黒髪さん、着席なさいな。
Black God. What a name. Sorry, I wasn't going to. I think I already mentioned this a million times that I've been going to Orimo and I'm like Kurokami, Kuroneko. That's a chudy name. Anyway, go away. Go away. Wait, Toi? I don't know how to pronounce the accented E.
何？そう、着席して。
I'm just gonna
ペー
call
ジ
her
は38ページよ。
but I don't. Maybe I'm super not pronouncing it correctly. Miss Ida got a smile as she responded, but it wasn't like they were carrying on a conversation. Indeed, it was more like she was a mother responding to an infant's babble. This girl was Toi. You know, I'm actually gonna search that. How do they pronounce accented E? I'll just say Toei. You know what? Just Toei. You know what? Just Toei. Anyway, this girl's name was Toei Kurokami. The only way to describe her would be a wonder. She staggered to the seat in the back of the class next to the window like a ghost. So she's a protagonist character. Next to the window. That's also Aoi's. No, Aoi from Totsuno. She was kind of in the window, but in the middle. Anyway, as she did, the rest of the class averted their eyes and pretended they didn't notice her. None of them budged in the slightest until they heard her take her seat. Oh yeah, this is reminding me of Totoro with like Aoi. It bears repeating, but the only way to describe her would be a wonder. She always carried a Japanese doll with her and never let it go for even a second. There were whispers that it must be a cursed doll, whose hair grew longer when you weren't paying attention around. That said, there wasn't anything wondrous about it. It was just an eerie doll. Many wondered if she was even allowed to bring it to school, yet no one said a word about it. What's more, Toei never let go of the doll. Never let go of the doll, not even during classes. Yet no one said a word about it, even though she had ever held a pencil or opened a textbook. Even at that very moment, she just kept on holding the doll as she stared off into space. This is exactly like Aoi in Totoro without the doll. But Miss Nagata didn't even try to reprimand her. They went for the other teachers too. No matter what subject they were teaching, none of them told her to put it away. Far from it. They said nothing. And even when she would suddenly rise to her feet and leave the classroom, she'd even done so very day. She'd even done so that very day, staggering out of the classroom at the very beginning of social studies. Yet the social studies teacher hadn't reprimanded her, merely asked if she was going to the infirmary again. Her head was in the clouds, regardless of the subject. There was no way the school could allow that, and yet the whole school allowed Toei Kurokami. Her classmates wondered if she was a ghost, or if the teachers couldn't see her. The very notion was ridiculous, of course, but no one laughed, for they understood she was an ominous presence they do best not to get involved with. In spite of that, the class was getting used to her existence and strange habits. April was almost at its end, and the whole class had already mostly stopping her any mind.
黒髪さんって不思議な人だね。
あの子はそっとしてあげて。
Guys, you can't ask her what's. Never mind. Let me get some water first. I need some water. I'm thirsty. Sorry.
黒髪がススコの入試で合格点を出せたなんてちょっと信じがたいぜ。
I just habit of pressing spacebar. Forget passing. No one could even imagine her holding a pencil. Natsuya's comment was on the point. It was confounded. It confounded the mind to envision how she had been allowed to join the school in the first place.
黒髪家ってこの辺りでは有名な大金持ちだからね。
Mm-hmm.
グレートマネーパワーで裏口ってわけかもな。
Great motor power.
そんなことを言っちゃ悪いよ。
But everyone thought so. No one believed she had been accepted through the proper channels. The more one thought of her, the more of a mystery she became.
1年の時からずっと黒髪さんはこんな感じなんだって。人形を抱いたまま授業も受けずにぼんやりして。
それじゃあテストとか補習とか大変じゃないかな。
Yeah, this is bothering me.
何もかも特例らしいぜ。補習にも出なくていいし、そもそもテストの順位表に名前も出ねえらしい。
私の聞いた子もそう言ってた。学校側からその存在を無視されてるって。
She's basically a mascot. Yeah, no, this also made me think a little bit more about Totano. Because how the hell did Aoi, like... Yeah, no, Totano didn't bother, like, the setting of things, you know? They just went straight to the point that Aoi was this unusual person in class. I don't remember mentioning tests or whatever that story, but I guess world building wasn't that important. It was straight up just like do Miyuki's route, do Aoi's route, get fucked, basically. Do Aoi's route and get fucked. Anyway, let's continue. Indeed, they were ignoring her even now. The teacher should have been able to see her from where she stood. Yet she continued with the lesson like nothing was wrong. That was very mysterious. And, depending on one's mindset, eerie. He didn't exactly have much in common with her, so Suzumu hadn't really paid her any mind so far. Every school has its own troublemakers and quirky students. The types everyone ignores because it would be a pain to get involved with them. Doe was certainly occupying that role. That had been his only evaluation of her. But the more he thought it now, the more conscious of her he became. Suzumu had never felt this way before. It was bizarre. Making sure the teacher wasn't watching, he looked back at Toe. She was staring blankly at the ceiling. She didn't so much as even glance at him. Yet, for some reason, Suzumu's gaze was drawn to her. It wasn't exactly love at first sight, but deep down, Suzumu felt the unrest that was similar, yet completely removed from it. Was it anxiety or a sense of responsibility? A sense of duty that he needed to do something, perhaps. Not even Suzumu understood the strange feelings now roiling within him. Doe Kurakami. Just what was it about her?
ポツンと浮いててかわいそうだから声をかけようかなとか。
Oh, sorry.
いや、
I click advance.
私はよした方がいいと思うよ。あの子いい噂を聞かないし。
噂？
目が合うと呪われるらしいぜ。
そんなことあるわけないよ。
彼女のことを不憫に思って声をかけた女の子もいたって去年の話だけど。
その話俺も聞いたぜ。
それでその女の子はどうしたの？
なんか精神を病んで最後には不登校になっちゃったらしいよ。
悪霊に取りつかれたとかで親と一緒にお祓いまでしたとかなんとか。
僕は信じないな。
Tsubakiko and Natsuya's eyes widen.
確かに彼女には少し近寄りがたい雰囲気があるよね。
Alright, he's taking one for the team.
周りの人がちょっぴり不吉な印象を持ったとしても不思議はない。でもだからって面白半分に広まったに違いない、そんな噂話を真に受けるわけにはいかないな。
ちょっとびっくり。
びっくりした。
案外進むって芯が強いんだね。
Bro, he's a martial artist.
僕は人を見かけや噂話で評価しちゃいけないってず
I
っと
just
言われて育ってきた。
I just failed what he's just said just now. I fucked up. I'm sorry. Suzumu, please forgive me.
僕だって僕のことをよく知りもしない人に外見や噂なんかで勝手に判断されたくない。小学校の頃は顔が女みたいだって言ってよくからかわれたんだ。体がなよなよしていて男らしくないんだろうって一方的に言われてすごい嫌だった。
それに関しては俺も返す言葉がね。
Natsuya had been convinced Suzumu was a weakling when he first met him. He challenged him to that arm wrestling match was a prank, only for his opinion to take a direct 180 after the boy had soundly defeated him. Now, realizing why Suzumu had taken up martial arts, Tsubakiko felt a little ashamed of herself.
周りの扱いが人を作ることもあると思うんだ。あの子だってひょっとしたら周りの扱いのせいでああいう振る舞いになってしまっただけかもしれない。
Kind of makes you think about the inciting incident.
なるほどな。
話しかけたら意外にいい人かもしれないよ。
Even though it looked like they understood, it didn't seem like they wanted to talk to Toei Kurokami either way. Apparently, it wouldn't be easy for them to erase the sinister impression of her they built up in their minds.
なんだかそれが転校生の僕の使命のように思えてきたよ。
使命？またグレートなことを言い出すぜ。
I don't know what happened last year, but that might be exactly why I need to be the one who talks to her. A flame had been lit within Suzume. It was telling him to go talk to her. Perhaps there was something she needed as well.
では次のページを誰に読んでもらおうかしら。あつたくん。
あ、はい。
進むは偉いね。人の評価に惑わされず自分で確かめたいって気持ちすごく尊敬できるよ。
Sorry, I can't see the because my microphone is kind of blocking. I should really get one of those microphone attachment things. So I could just like put it next to my mouth. I'll worry about that soon.
当たり前のことだと思うけどな。
でもね、進む。愚者は経験に学ぶって言葉知ってる？
知らない。何それ？
私もどこの偉人が言った言葉かは知らないけど、でもネットで見たことがあるの。愚者は経験に学び、賢者は歴史に学ぶって。
I never had that before, but I could guess what it meant.
10階建てのビルの屋上から飛び降りれば死ぬ。でもスズムはそれを自分で体験しない限り信じないって言ってる。
That's a big jump in logic.
危険を避けるために人々の累積した知識、歴史に耳を傾けるべき時もある。
そんな大げさな話じゃないよ。黒髪さんに話しかけたら僕が死んじゃうなんてあるわけがない。
それはそうだけど、でもみんなが彼女を敬遠し薄気味悪く思い遠ざける。その蓄積された歴史を無視して我が身で確かめようとするスズムは、ひょっとしたら命知らずかもしれないよ。
It hadn't been that long since I reunited with Kiko, but I'd never seen her look so serious. It was shockingly stern expression, like the face of a mother makes when scolding her child for trying to run out of heat in the street when the light was red.
私の第六感的なものがささやくの。鈴は黒髪さんとは関わらない方がいいと思う。
キコちゃん。
私止めたからね。
This is rather sudden, but my name is Yuto Akagawa. Not that you have to remember it. Everyone only calls me by my nickname. What sort of nickname is that? Fatigawa. If you ask the rest of the class about me, they'd say I was everyone's favorite laughing stock. The kind of person everyone makes fun of. You see those in variety shows all the time, right? Where the comedians get put through bizarre punishments and everyone laughs at them. Well, that was me. I was always the butt of such jokes. That day was no different. A comedian got stripped down to his underwear and had embarrassing things written all over him with felt markers. Oh man, I remember Rudius. Oh man, Mushigo Tensei. Although he had it worse, because his underwear got removed and everyone knew he had a condition. Anyway, the people on the TV all had a good laugh. The viewers probably did the same, but I never laughed. I just felt sympathy for the comedian, seeing them like that. No, not sympathy. Fear. Because I knew that would be me tomorrow.
おいデブ、赤デブ、しりとりやろうぜ、しりとり。俺たち友達だろ。なあ、遊ぼうぜ。
When lunch break came, a bunch of crass guys would always force me to play with them. I was by no means popular, and though they called it playing, I was the only one getting played with.
じゃあ俺から行くぞ。デブのブからな。ブルー。ほらルだよ、ル。早くしろよデブ。
They totally said a different word, but okay.
54321-0。はい、デブの負け。
They were just looking for an excuse to put me through humiliating punishments for losing. It would go on until I lost, and recently they have been coming up with unfair reasons to knock me out right off the bat. If I didn't play along or I showed any displeasure, they'd get really violent. So all I could do was force a smile and take it. Better to be their plaything than their punching bag. Yes, this was better.
おいデブ、服脱げ服。
See what I mean? I'd already resigned myself to this last night, so I was calm about it. They all talked about my clothes, trying to force them down. It would be a pain if I fought back, only to lose a button. So I just gave an embarrassing smile and stripped myself. And once I was reduced to my briefs and shoes, they brought out a marker out of nowhere and called it. But it was an oil-based one. Getting this off wouldn't be easy.
大丈夫だよ。風呂入れば落ちるって。
うわ、お前汗ベトベトじゃん。ペン先滑るよ。汚ねー。
They wrote all sorts of nasty comments on my stomach, back, thighs, and even briefs. And then they cackled, just like the people on TV. Here, no comedic music would play to soften the blow. My parents didn't care about me. Figures. Given I was a whip who'd been bullied his whole life, if they knew I was getting bullied, they'd just hit me and yell at me for being such a pushover. So I just put up with it. Throw away my underwear, wash up all the writing in the bath so they wouldn't find out. But this trend just keeps going on. And the crude comments on my body would escalate day after day. Worse. It's nearly impossible to wash out writing from oil-based markers. Water just doesn't cut it. You need to take a nylon towel and rub your skin really hard. As a result of doing this every day, My skin got raw and painful. It stung whenever the hot water touched it. The pain would serve as a constant reminder of how my body had been reduced to a sketchbook for bullying. Are? All of a sudden, the lights went out. It was pitch black. Oddly enough, my thoughts ground to a halt too, as if time has stopped in the darkness. No point in getting worked out about it. My parents would surely take care of it. If I had made a scene, they'd scold me for being a wimp who couldn't take care of himself. But just then, the shower stopped. It really did feel like time had stopped. What in the world was going on? All I could hear was labored breathing coming out of my nose. It scared me. Like there was a terrifying demon just nearby. I heard a spine-tingling voice from the depths of hell at my back. It came from within the bathroom right behind me. The words lingered and echoed off the walls. Basket?
お前の望みを言ってみろ。もうこんな目に遭いたくないんだ。
You should be careful with what you wish for. That could mean a lot of things. I couldn't stand the humiliation any longer.
いいだろう。だが叶えてほしいな。俺の願いも叶えてもらおう。
What's it for tab, I guess?
俺の願い。俺は人間の不幸を養分としている。お前の願いも等しいだけの不幸。なあ、そう難しいことじゃない。
Normally, I could never get that ominous press as what I desired. But not only had it been another day of getting covered in embarrassing scribbles, some girls saw me and laughed this time. That bitterness urged me on. An elementary schooler was humming as he walked down the road, clearly in high spirits. The street was desolate. No one else was watching. If I was gonna do it, then this was my chance. I approached him from behind, aimed for the back of his head, and thwack. I ran for the hills. The boy's cries chased me like a specter, but I ignored them and dashed away. There, I did it. The boy was hit by a complete stranger out of nowhere. By bringing about this misery, I had given the thing what it wanted. I felt a little guilty, but that was outweighed by overwhelming sense of triumph. And besides, it looked like the boy was coming back from school in a good mood. He was that happy. It was only fair he shared some of it with me, so there was no need for me to feel bad, right? Happy now? I kept up my end of the bargain. I could hear the thing laughing in the distance. That night, I waited in the bath for it to show up again, but it didn't. I kept washing my body and waited for the lights to go out again, but they didn't. My body stung. It was itchy. Even after I went to the bed, turned off the lights, my chest and body kept aching. The next day, I checked my stomach to find it swelling a reddish purple. But if I told my parents about it, and it came out I'd been getting bullied, they'd scold me. It was okay. I'd go away if I had just left it alone. Yes. I kept throbbing during classes. I couldn't concentrate.
はい、時間切れ。腹だぜ、腹。お前風呂でちゃんと洗ってんだろうな。昨日背中のやつ残ってたぞ。
I was in for yet another scribbling punishment during the lunch break, but this time the aching in my chest and back were more painful. The swelling there was chapping against my shirt, So having those guys take off my clothes and touch me would actually feel better. In fact, I just wanted to take my clothes off myself. It was itchy. 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 And when I took off my shirt, the swelling would finally stop itching. My chest and back withered with pleasure, like worms after a rain. There were several purplish, blocked, swollen blobs pulsating on them, rejoicing in the fresh air. To me, they looked like one of those face assembly puzzles. Ears, eyes, nose, mouths. Those scattered parts protrude from my chest from the blobs and trembled. Clouds of stringy secretion similar to phlegm gushed out of them. The demon had certainly kept its promise. After all, the looks of horror on the bullies made it clear they wouldn't even think about touching me now. I'd wish to never go through something like that again, and the thing granted it. Seeing the bullies fall calmly on their backsides in terror felt a bit liberating, even. I was sure their days of bullying were at an end. Well, all of a sudden, they kicked me to the ground. They kicked the eyes, nose, and mouth of the blobs on my chest, back over and over again, crushing into paste. The blobs were crushed out snot-like secretion with each kick, sticking like the string to their shoes. And as for me, I felt no pain. Far from it. I felt on top of the world for giving them the fright of their lives. Eventually, they kicked me so hard that my body was swollen purple and became a blob itself. And so they continued stomping me, crushing me flat as I continued swilling the gooey secretion. In the end, I was reduced to nothing more than a reddish-black puddle, like blood mixed in with mucus and faded away. Thus, they would never bully me again. However, I wish I had been more specific with my wish. Like, I wish everyone who bullies me dies or something. But if I had, I don't think hitting the kid on the head would have been enough to satisfy that demon. However, I made another wish. Kill them. The demon's wish in exchange for that was surprisingly cheap. All I had to do was offer it this life of but one single student. Any student. But that was impossible. I no longer had a body. I couldn't kill someone, much less touch them. Hey, after hearing all this, you feel bad for me, right? Sympathy with the poor old me and take my place. Sacrifice someone. Just one person is fine, okay? Come on. Please. Sacrifice someone for me. Come on. Please, please. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, I don't know. A giant lump of meat beyond any possible description riddled in the darkness. It had no arms, legs, or even a head, just a blob of flesh. Eyeballs, nose, and mouths poked out from all over it, spewing forth gooey phlegm from time to time. It was creeping closer and closer and closer. But then red eyes flashed in the darkness. Oh, this reminded me of some Umineko effects thing. It wasn't just two of them. Countless pairs of red eyes encircled the blob. Oh, Ninos. Now this is creepy as fuck, bro. They were small Japanese dolls. Endless numbers of the exact same dolls clambered about. The blob found itself surrounded on all sides. Being dolls, they were completely expressionless. However, they clattered as they chambered over to the blob, one after another. By this point, the blob was nothing more than a piece of candy, tossed into a swarm of ants. You can no longer see anything past the oncoming incursion of dolls. It howled as it whipped out several strands of phlegm like water guns. The blob was clearly screaming in the death throes. For much like the piece of candy amidst the swarm of ants, the dolls showed the blob no mercy and devoured it whole. With howls and the occasional sound of spewing phlegm, The blob faded into darkness. The doll was staring into his side. Appeared to shake for a moment.
その人形マジでさ、薄気味悪いんだけど。大切な人形だからそっとしておけ。うるさく言われてなかったら、そんな気味悪い人形、速攻ゴミ箱なのによ。
Those are some sounds. There was a wet sound, followed by a sweet scent of saliva. Toei's lips shone sensually as a thin silver string trailed from them. I'm not gonna pronounce that shit. Once more, she put the boy's toes right in her moist mouth.
頭さえいかれてなきゃよ。結構いい女なのによ。
I mean, this could have been worse. This is the guy's toes, right? Right? Don't tell me this is more fucked up than I imagined.
やめんじゃねえよ。続けろや、グズ。
The boy kicked Toei in the chest with his bare foot. But like a dog, she groveled before him yet again. She started sucking his toes once more, like a baby would at its mother's breast. The school's bike lot was empty except right before and after school, so it had become a gathering spot for delinquents. Thus, delinquent groups would meet up during lunch break and the like. About 10 of them were here at this moment. They would curse, spit, and tell each other all sorts of crude stories with deplorable smiles on their faces. A ways apart from them was their leader, Shokamemuna, getting his toe sucked by Toei Kurokan.
翔さんって性癖変わってますよね。
ほんとほんと、足より舐めさせるとこがあるでしょうに。
俺はよ、そういうのはきちんとしてるわけ。そういうのは結婚するまでお預けするたちなわけよ。
Right. Oh, my new phone's being shipped. Sorry. Give me a few minutes as I Hell yeah. My new phone is coming in. Oh my god, what the hell? Sorry, I read some Genshin news, and there will be new artifact sets for the Spiral Abyss. So instead of getting Gladiator and Wanderer's troop sets, oh, it's 4-star artifacts. Wait a second. Wait a second. Oh my god. Wait, this bothered me. Anyway, I was distracted because there are Genshin might change the artifact sets in Spiral Abyss that they give out. I, I was this close to thinking that they were about to force like artifact sets that are unique to Spiral Abyss. The good thing it's not. It's the New Chasm artifact sets. But if they force like artifacts that only come from Spiral Abyss, that would literally be like literally whale bait, man. Because people who have an easy time doing Spiral Abyss to farm it is whales, obviously. I mean, there's some FTPs who could do it, but it took them a while to get min-max artifacts to do such levels with no problems. I mean, there's some skill involved, but it's not exactly like the most friendly for a lot of players. Anyway.
つうかさ、それで先行来た時、焦ってチャックで挟んだら笑えねえじゃん。
Yeah, Show is smarter than you thought. Yeah. You know how the good bullies, when I say good bullies, not in the sense that they're morally good or whatever. I'm talking about being good at being a bully. Do you know how to do things in a way they hurt you without making it obvious to other people? You know, like they would punch you in a certain spot of the body that wouldn't be visible unless you had to remove your clothes or something. I heard about that stuff, but I don't know. I've never been to that kind of situation, nor do I know anyone who got that kind of situation in my life. I don't know, maybe my skill was much more, I don't know. It was more verbal abuse than physical abuse. But everyone was, it's, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, blah, blah, blah. I forgot the entire thing, but basically, if that was like, everyone learned how to shit talk, it's like, everyone knows how to shit talk, basically. So they also had like a natural defense against shit talking. Whatever. Why am I rambling about that? Let's continue.
歯をぶつけんなっつっただろ。
Oh shit, I hate this, It seemed Sho had gotten the area under his toenail stuck into Toe's tooth, which he'd been convulsing with laughter. He suddenly roared angrily. He suddenly roared angrily and kicked her away with his free left foot. Toe's tender body fell right over. Sho must have shown her no mercy. I feel bad for Toe. However, it seems she didn't even understand the cruelty inflicted upon her. For she groveled before Sho's foot yet again and started trying to suck his toes. Her expression never changed, even once. But Sho, fed up at this point, placed his foot on Toe's face and kicked her down again.
やめなよ。
Here we go! Martial Arts MC!
ああ、
乱暴は良くないと思うよ。
Yeah, boy, our favorite moral fags here.
なんだてめえ誰よ
2の A のすす払ってやろうっす。
The delinquents consider this place their stronghold and their sanctuary. They hate it when outsiders step onto their turf. So they prowl, rose to their feet, and glared at Suzumu.
黒髪さん、嫌なことなら嫌だってちゃんと言わなきゃ。
I hate when people have to ask that kind of question, but yeah, never mind. I like how they. No, I don't like how. Nah, I'm a interventionist type of person, but you know, let me change the light of my room. It's so blue lights and all that right now.
それが言いづらいようなら僕が先生に相談するよ。
ああちくりかよ上等じゃねえかこら。
お前チクった後どうなるか分かってんのか。あ
おとなしくチャリに空気入れて帰れやボケ。
Suzumu had brought a tire pipe he'd borrowed from the superintendent's room. It'd come because his tires were low on air. Come to think of it, Kiko did tell me she wouldn't recommend doing it during lunch, didn't she? Now I see why. She was implying this place was a den of delinquents. Suzumu was tense on his own right, but it didn't look that way. And that pissed off the delinquents off.
あのよなんか勘違いしてるみてえだけどさトエはさ俺にいじめられていやいややってるわけじゃねえわけなあトエ。
That eye bags. Toei staggered to her feet and stared blankly at Suzumu. Oh, I'm right. It was Toei. She wrapped her arms around his shoulder and clung to him with all she had. But her expression remained the same, even then.
こいつはさ俺の女なわけ。
自分の女に乱暴をするなんて思えないよ。
気を許し合ってるからこそってわけよ。お前何様？俺とトエがどういう関係か何も知らないなら引っ込んでろよな。
女の子を蹴り飛ばしてもいい関係なんて僕には思いつかないよ。
おうあんまふかしてっと死なすぞこら。
One of the delinquents stepped forward and grabbed Suzumu by the collar. But Suzumu simply grabbed his arm and phased.
ああ
おい大丈夫かよ。
痛えよ痛えよすっげえバカ力だよこいつ。ああ痛え。
It was at this point the delinquents noticed Susie was unassumingly rugged fists. The lack of fear he showed when he faced with their numbers made it easy to imagine he was trained in martial arts. They glared furiously at Suzumu, but then they tried to grab him again. Just then, the bell rang, signaling the end of the lunch break.
A 組の
I
す
guess
す
to
腹
take
と
a
か言
break.
ってんだ。
I'm losing. I think
て
I'm
め
losing
えの
it
こ
right
とは
now.
覚えておくからな。
さっきの乱暴を黒髪さんに謝らない限り
Oh, here we go.
僕も君のことは忘れないから。
Here we go.
ああなめてんのかてめ
I
え
do
この場
it.
で知るかあ
The music reflected that. He hadn't imagined Suzumu would actually talk back. Struggling with the right wrought rage, Chill pulled a metal bat out of a nearby bike's umbrella stand.
何やっとんじゃ
Suzumu finally looked up when he realized that the child had come to Was she like a secret delinquent or something?
バキコかよ めえの出る幕じゃねえだろ。
I knew it. She was a secret delinquent.
スズメは私のダチなわけ。
I loved it. She went from really girly, cutesy to like super. Yeah, that was, you know, the mature womanly boss type of person.
血祭りにされてかこら。捨て頃もできねえ玉なし。
Yeah, I liked it. I knew there was just something about her. I like this. I like this.
すぐすらクソはな。この場でぶっ殺されるかこら。
翔ちゃんまずいって落ち着けって。面倒を起こしたら先輩になんて言われるか。
命拾いしたなサラ。マジで覚えてろ。
約束するよ。
Oh, that was they escalated this. Oh man, that was so cool. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? And it was like Kiko. I'm like, what? Show left in the huff. Show left in the huff as the other delinquents tried to calm him down. Toei staggered on after them.
黒髪さん、
But before Suzumu could ask if she was okay, Toei pushed him away. For the first time, the two looked each other in the eye. Though Toei's face was blank, her eyes were brimming with emotion, with tears and rejection. Oh. Because I can imagine it involves threatening her doll. I can imagine it involves threatening her doll. And Toei's now like, I'm fucked. Late?
Huh?
Oh, no. This is like, why did you come to me earlier? Her tears streaked downward and fell to the ground. Toei pushed Suzumu away again and left. Suzumu watched her leave as he reflected on her parting words. Why? You're too late. She said that. He knew. I knew it. This. I know that line. I know that cliche.
さすがグレイトな男だぜ、セスハ
But
ラ。
they do look like delinquents.
あれだけの人数相手にビビりもしねえなんてな。さすがは俺が認めたグレイトセスハラだぜ。
初田くん、一緒に来たのに隠れてたでしょ。情けないな。そんなのじゃ彼女できた時愛想をつかされちゃうよ。
What the hell was that thing about Kiko just now?
俺はまだ修行中の身だからな。女なんてまだまだ早えぜ。
ありがとうキコちゃん、助けてくれて。
ああいうバカを挑発するのはノンノンだよ。
No.
だから私昼休みに駐輪場はやめた方がいいよって言ったのに。
ごめんね、昼休みがもったいないからって意味だと思ってたよ。それにしてもキコちゃんもかっこよかったよ。
そうそう、グレイトな単価だったぜ。そうか、スサラは知らねえのか。
Oh, she is a delinquent.
何しろハルミヤは中学の頃は。うわっ、
昼休みは終わったよ。早く戻ってレッツ5次元目をスタディしないとね。
Study. The Japlish, man.
夏
Japlish
くん、
with her
どうしたの？
secret past as a
具合悪い
delinquent.
の？
さあねえ、つわりじゃないの。私が肩を貸すから、スズムは早く教室に行って。
Okay, Tsubakiko just... She sold on me just now. She has a secret. Not so secret. It appeared more like she was giving him a headlock than a hand, though. By the time classes resumed, Kurokami was back in her seat, holding her doll and staring off into space like always. Why? You're too late! The way she was in class, I couldn't imagine her speaking her mind as clearly as that. Wait, let me compose myself. Alright, okay. thought I knew what I'd heard, but I was starting to wonder if it was her mind playing tricks on me. Kurokami. What did she mean by too late? I used to be so indifferent, but I found that I couldn't get my mind off her for some reason. Too late. As in, past the point of no return. But what? What didn't I make it in time for? Black snow started gently falling between us. No, not snow. Suit. Jet black suit piled up, burying me in Kurokami's world in darkness. The final class of the day ended, and my classmates filed out of the room one after another. But instead, I walk over to Kurokami.
何か力になれることがあったら言ってね。
何も。お前はあまりに。
There's what?
遅すぎる。
Kurokami said nothing. That silence was a clear affirmation that by too late, she was indeed referring to me.
わからないよ。僕の何が遅すぎたの？僕は非力かもしれないけれど、黒髪さんが苦しんでいるなら、それを救うことができるかもしれない。
Her eyes were glazed over. Nothing I said was getting to her. There was nothing more I could say to her. There was nothing more I could say to keep her there. Oh man, maybe I should take a break.
なんでもあの二人いいなずけ同士らしいぜ。
You know what? Maybe I should take a break. That was like almost 2 hours of streaming. Yeah, I think I'll take a break. I'm also getting hungry as well. Gonna get some food then. So I'm sure. Anyway, I think I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. I'm gonna continue streaming after dinner. I think I'm liking this so far. So yeah, I'll continue streaming this later. So yeah, I'll be seeing you guys. Ciao.